What's going on? Michael with Lawn Dude here. I was asked by a subscriber if I could talk about my background a little bit more, as far as like how I started out in the field, where I was employed, and how many years it's been to get to today. So that's what this video is going to be about after the intro. Yep, Mikey with Lawn Dude here. Alright, so I'm going to try to make this short and sweet. Might be kind of hard to do that because my history started at real early years. And I'm not the best at remembering a lot of the dates. That's something that my wife is a lot better at, like when I went full time, like which year it was. But basically, I tell people I have over 20 years experience in this field, because I do. But what most can't get over is the fact that I'm just 33 years old. So when I was 7 years old, I actually started my company under my name. It was like under my first name. It was, lawn service. And I was going around the neighborhood. Like most people would be like, oh, you were just a kid riding a lawnmower around the neighborhood. Nah, I wasn't quite that simple. I was never a simple kid, man. So when it came to basically doing lawns as a 7-year-old kid, I had a vision on how I wanted to do cutting lawns already. So basically every little dime I made, I kid you not, was going back into the business, man. I was getting all sorts of equipment. I think I got my first gas trimmer, backpack blower. I'm a kid, and I'm going around the neighborhood. We had a great family friend who used to tinker with like ride mowers. For like about a month, him and I would go in his garage and work on a ride mower for me, and he wasn't looking for any money. He was just happy to help a young kid who's trying to cut some lawns. So we had put a transmission in this thing, did some engine work, and all this, that, and the third, and we got that thing working. Then I had my first ride mower that was so doggone loud, man. It was like a little hot rod going through the neighborhood. Then basically it was at the point where I could do some bigger sized lawns, but my main purpose of the ride mower was to haul my lawnmower around. So then I get to the point where I'm looking for a little wagon, like a little trailer. My parents actually invested that in my company at a young age. They bought the little $100, I think, Lowe's trailer to hook onto the back of the ride mower. I don't even think I got any more pictures of this, man. And I'll put the push mower in there. I built a little rack on it, had the trimmer on it. And then I had my blower in there. And a little overly complicated at that age for me to go through the neighborhood like that. But I was cutting lawns, man. It's what I loved to do at the time. So it got to the point where I'm fast forwarding to where I'm 14 years old. I'm old enough to get a worker's permit. So I go to work for a landscape company, man. And I honestly hated it because we did sod and retaining walls all the time. But I'm the type that I know I'm the youngest working with a bunch of grown men. So I'm going to try to prove you wrong. So no matter how much I hate it, I'm out there busting my butt, trying to just grind it. But those restrictions in the state of Virginia at the time for workers permits, you can only work 8 hours. So the way we did that was, I think, because it's 40 hours a week total you could work. So the way we did it was I worked 4 days a week, 10-hour days. Because in the landscaping field, as you know, it's hard to do your hours any other way. So pretty much by me doing this job, this is what got my experience up in like doing retaining walls, sod, mulch. And it's funny because I do these services now, but I don't really care for doing them because of really from my years of learning how to do it from that landscape company. So then I worked for that company that summer. Of course, I had to go back to school, so that was the end of working for them. But this company will come back into play down the road, so keep this in mind. So after that, my experience, the year after that, I had dabbled a little bit in cabling over the summer, just because I couldn't find, no lawn company would really hire a teenager in my area. And finally, this summer after that, I want to say this is when I was 17. By the time I was 17, no, it might have been 16. Either which way, it was one of those ages. I worked for a lawn doctor franchise actually out here in my area in Northern Virginia, and it was my first lawn care facility. Keep in mind, actually, I got to backtrack. This is what I mean. I don't remember the dates, and this is me unedited, just straight getting at it. There's one thing and one important part I forgot before I even went to lawn doctor. I was over one of my friends' homes, man, and right across the street there was a guy backing up his truck and trailer into the yard with mowers on it. And I actually walked up to him. I'm like, "Hey, are you hiring?" And I was still 14 at the time. This turned out to be a long-term position for me. So he said, "Actually, I do need help." It was a Saturday. I didn't know at the time, but he was a weekend warrior. He worked Saturdays and Sundays cutting lawns. Really Saturdays. So basically, he said, "I do need help. My guy's on vacation, and tomorrow I could definitely use some help." And I'm sitting there like, wow, look at God, like for real. I went to work for him that next day, and because I wasn't an average kid and I was already cutting my own neighborhood lawns, I knew how to like operate the trimmers and all that. And he was honestly the only one that took a chance on me at my age to do that type of service. I was out there cutting a ton of lawns with him. After the first day, he said, "Yeah, man, you're hired." Even when his guy came back, it was 3 of us. And we're out there knocking out maybe about 20 to 30, I want to say about 25, about 20 or 25 homes every Saturday, to the point where he didn't even have to go out Sundays anymore. And I worked with him on Saturdays, man, and developed a great relationship with him to the point where he kind of partnered up. We partnered up towards the end to where we were doing the services together. And he was a full-time manager for a lawn care company. So keep this in mind. So basically, I've worked as a lawn doctor the one summer after I had already got on with him. I had already been on with him for 2 years on weekends. And the reason why I couldn't get on with him was because I got to be at least 18 to get my registered tech position. Make you wonder how I was working for lawn doctor. Well, they had me doing nothing but aerations. That's how I got my experience in aerations. I'm 16, 17 years old, aerating. So after I was done with lawn doctor, because I'm still in school at the time. I mean, I was still doing afternoons with them, but it was just hard for me to kind of work with the owner at the time of that branch. So when I was 18, after I graduated, well, I didn't even graduate at the time. I was still in high school. When I was 18, I got my registered tech license, and worked for the lawn care company in our area. In our area, it was BioGreen Lawn Care. My friend, he was actually the one who I was working for on Saturdays. He was the manager there, the branch manager there, and he had brought me in. He had talked up to the bosses and basically said, hey, this is like young me, and he's a worker. So they were happy to get me in there. This is where I started learning like my diseases and weeds, because one thing about that company, they cared a lot about you learning your identifications. And my partner actually showed me and taught me so much when it comes to that. He was a commercial applicator and everything. I was trying to get mine, couldn't pass the test, man. So fast forward there, man, I was there through the time I graduated through high school. I'm talking about leaving high school, doing a couple classes, leaving high school, and then going to work for about half a day or whenever my route is done. And I was getting my quota within the time. All the other techs, who are of course grown men, were getting their entire route done, and most of the time my quota, I was over my quota. It got to the point where they had to go out, the managers, of course my partner and other manager at the time there, they had to go out and like check my lawns, because other guys were sitting there like, there's no way he's outdoing us, and then he's got weed-free lawns and this, that, and third. They went to check behind me, man, and my lawns were as weed-free as they could be. And, I wasn't getting any complaints from any clients, so then they left me alone, and that was that. So once I graduated high school, I was taking care of a route of almost 400 lawn care clients for my routes. I was leading in sales there for aeration and lime sales, self-generated. It got to the point where wintertime, there was never really any work there, not enough to keep you busy. A lot of times they try to put you on unemployment. And at the time, my wife and I, who's also my high school sweetheart, we were expecting our first child, our son. So it got to the point where I was like, man, I need to figure out this winter situation. So that winter, there was a company looking for guys to drive their trucks to plow snow. I called them up, sat down with them, and I got the job plowing snow with them. Come to find out, the person who I was talking to was actually a branch manager for a different lawn doctor franchise, much bigger than the one I worked for in the past. And the guy who I worked for in the past, he had bought his franchise over, and the tech that trained me, who I became good friends with, was actually working for him. Small world. Didn't even know it. This was a whole nother area, everything. So after he seen my work ethic when it came to plowing and like my attention to detail, he was trying to recruit me to come work for his branch, and I kept saying, I don't know. I was comfortable. And my wife and I sat and talked to him, like, man, he's offering more money, guaranteeing me year-round work, so it was a no-brainer. I went to go work for that lawn doctor franchise, and I grinded away for a few years, man. I'm talking about like, I think it was about 2 years I grinded, man. We're knocking about 40 lawn care jobs a day. And then like power seeding season, I was killing it doing that too, aerating, all that. And then it just got to the point where the boss was seeing me and just straight up was like, you know, I'd like to consider you for a supervisor. I said, okay. You know, we went over the numbers, everything else. I became supervisor for about 2 months. And then we sat down again. I'd like to consider you for assistant manager. And at that company, the owner was also considered a manager. So when you're going for assistant manager there, you're pretty much the manager. And the manager is taking care of all that, is like making sure all the techs, you know, are doing what they're supposed to be doing, checking up on their lawns, doing all the customer service. You're in charge of, you know, like make sure power seedings are getting done. You do a tree and shrub route. If somebody doesn't show up sometimes, you know, you do their route as well. But when I took that position over, I completely changed it. I was doing all that and then some. I was also doing maintenance on the vehicles at the time, oil changes, a lot of trucks there. I was doing the small engine repairs for all the, like, you know, power seeders, perma-greens, you name it. I did a power seeding route. I still did I did sales. I did a lot of sales. I did all these and then some, and I'm talking about I would drive hundreds of miles a day just for the company. I get there before 6 a.m. and a lot of times I was getting home at, you know, after dark. And it was kind of that way. Even during the snow season when we're out there plowing all night, a lot of times I was expected to report in the next day and take care of business. So I did that for, I can't remember how long I was there. This is where the dates get me, man. I want to say maybe 4 years, 5 years. I think 5 years. And then basically what happened was I was always trying to get my company out the ground. This whole time that I'm sitting here talking, we had something else happen. In between the time when I first started working for Lawn Doctor again, my partner actually left BioGreen to go become a truck driver and he moved his daughters and his wife. They all moved down to Georgia. He became a truck driver. And he like sold me, you know, the walk behind I used. I had bought a zero turn at the time, and he sold me his trailer, and he had me take over all the customers that he had, you know. So I was still doing that on Saturdays, and then I even built that up so much more to the point where I needed 2 or 3 guys with me every Saturday, and at that point we were doing 35 lawns a Saturday. So this whole time I'm doing all these lawns and I wanted to go full time, but now it's at the point, you know, I have a son. My wife is actually expecting our second child, our daughter, at the time, you know, and, you know, I wanted to go full time, but, you know, you get nervous, you get cold feet because of the stress of knowing you need to still be able to pay your bills. So I'm a man of faith, and God is good, man, because one day I'm out there working, doing my manager thing, and keep in mind, this time I done made so many relationships as a manager. I had the equipment dealer. I was the face of that company for a while, so like the equipment dealer, whenever they got their little trade-in motors that they fixed up and resold, they were selling them to me. So at this point I had an X-Mark 60-inch walk behind. I believe I had the sit-down zero-turn 60-inch. I had a right stander 52-inch at the time, and I think I still might have had a 48-inch John Deere. So I had upgraded my equipment all the way. I had 2 old F-150s. So either which way I'm working, and that landscape company I worked for when I was 14 years old called me up. Their office manager had called me up, and at first I'm shocked because the wife, it was the husband and wife that owned the company, and the wife was the office manager. She was the everything when it came to like taking care of office stuff. Come to find out, you know, she had got sick and died a year before. I can't remember what from, but she had died, and basically because, you know, her husband doing what a husband does, trying to, you know, get her to appointments and everything else, and then he does H2B program. And basically that year, that program got halted. So he couldn't bring in anyone to get all their work done, all the service done, and he was trying to deal with all the stuff with his wife at the time. So they were way behind. I'm talking about knee-high, tall lawns, and they needed to sub out all of their residential properties. I want to say it was like 60, 70 residentials. I'm talking about decent sized lots. He asked how much I would charge per lawn, whatever, and they would cut me a check weekly for everything I did. So when we added it up, my wife and I added it up, I'm like, yeah, it only makes sense. My wife and I made the decision that I was gonna go full time, and then I had put my 2 weeks in at that employment, and I went full time. And I want to say, here is another date, man. That might have been 2015. It's sad, I don't even remember when it was. It was either 15 or 16, to be honest with you. I went full time for myself, subbing for this company, and I loved being full time for myself, man. But at the time, I only had a Ram 2500 because we had sold off 2 F-150s. We needed something with more power, and that thing stayed in the shop because of the condition it was. I bought it in, and it got to the point where it had something wrong with the computer, and my truck was down, and we ended up pulling the trigger for one of the guys that we did the snow removal for on a F-450 stake body crew cab 7.3 diesel, man. That bad boy was nice and had a power dump. And so I'm pulling that with a 16-foot trailer with 6-foot walls or 5-foot walls, and we were rocking and rolling, man. Like we was working from 7 to sundown every single day except Sundays. It was actually kind of stressful. It was nice being out there making your own money, but because we were subbing for the other company, we kind of threw all our customers on the back burner. Our customers all got pushed to Wednesdays, so we were doing every single one of our clients on a Wednesday, and that was rough. And then we're doing the other company's clients the other 5 days of the week, and it got to the point where I wasn't really having fun with the mowing part of it, just because of the fact that you're just trying to get everything done, and even if it rains, like you really couldn't afford for it to rain. And then back to the point as to why I got that truck was the owner had told us, hey, you can do all our leaf clients, and it was quite a bit, and we already have the debris loader. I also have the truck, but my truck doesn't dump, so I went ahead and made an investment on the truck, and it dumped and everything. But as soon as fall came and leaves was down, he's like, oh, we could take care of that ourselves, because he had hired a couple more guys at the time, and that screwed me. Like, I had 2 guys working for me, and I had to basically tell them, yeah, I can't even, afford to have you work now. I don't even know how I'm working. So I'm scrapping for jobs that winter. That first winter was rough. I had an ATV at the time. I sold that bad boy so that I could make ends meet. We did a lot of junk removal that winter. But he brought us through. God brought us through like he always does, man. And we made it through there. Spring, I basically revamped it to my own thing. We were blessed to get our first commercial at the time. First couple commercials. These were smaller ones, like a hotel and a diner. And we kept revamping our residential. We started doing pretty decent. And then, I want to say about 2 years later, maybe a year later, we got our biggest commercial contract. We still got that to this date. It is now our second biggest commercial. And once we got all that, it was going all right as far as just staying consistent. My guy, who I have to this date, he was in there from the year that we did the subcontract for the landscape company, and then he was the next summer, he didn't work for me. He worked somewhere else, I want to say. I was solo that summer, pretty much. And my brother was getting off work a lot of days and helping me out. But my guy came back that next year, and he's been with me since. But yeah, keep in mind that during this time, like, I already knew how to do a lot of maintenance stuff. I already knew how to do the mowing. I picked up my experience through all these mini jobs. I didn't have as much experience with fertilization and all that, but that first job I got at the age of 16, 17, and then eventually at the other company with my partner at 18, they taught me. I learned so much. I learned everything, diseases, I mean, still stuff to learn, but you know what I mean. And then during my time period with Lawn Doctor, the second go round, I took a small engine course, although I already knew small engines, and this prepped me as well. This prepped me to where, like, to this day, I really have never had to have any of my machines in the shop. There have been times where I didn't think I could fix something, and I ended up getting it taken care of, because I did do the small engine thing to make sure I can do my own repairs. I do all my own maintenance on my vehicles, unless it's something like massive job or I really don't have time, because I have a shop I trust. And another good thing about the way I came up to where I am today is I had a lot of good people, a lot of good connections that I still have to this day. Being the face of a company for a little while there, my supplier to this day for like fertilizers and everything, I was able to get an account with them. I was able to get a account with my equipment dealer, to this day, when it comes to like X marks and all that stuff, Echoes, you name it. And I was just able to do nothing but develop customer service skills just from every company I left, because they all were based on you taking care of your customers, you calling them up and all that. So basically, I think I talked you all the way up to this point, man. I'm sure some points I left out there, but that is the gist of it, man. I can't remember the exact amount of years it's been full time. Again, that's a question for my wife for me to ask her how many years it's been. I think we might be year 7. I know June is when we have our anniversary for going full time. I just can't remember exactly which year. So we're either in year 7 or we're in year 6. I think it might be 6. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, it's been a lot of ups and downs, and I learned a lot to get to where I'm at today. And I'm sure I just rambled on for a long time this video. I'd be surprised if I get people to actually sit here and listen to this video. I might have to cut it up into parts just so that you guys can actually not fall asleep during this this video. Alright, well, y'all take it easy. Have any more questions on my background, please hit me down in the comments. Take it easy. Peace.